Hey guys, how you doing? Today is May 16th, Friday. We take some time to talk about United Healthcare, right? And it is quite scary for company big like that, right? And then used a lot by the U.S. government and a lot of U.S. people for the health, for the insurance, and suddenly got a big job like this, and got quite a negative image suddenly in these few weeks, right? A lot of people then have their focus light on United Healthcare. Then is this company doing some kind of fraud, right? On paying back for the insurance if the people are eligible for the claim, but they are not willing to pay because Department of Justice is investigating on them. Although they said that they still not contacted by the DOJ, right? But I think that soon it will be. And a lot of people on the internet is asking purely on the sake of investment. Should we buy the stock at this stock price level? My answer is a reluctant buy, right? Actually, then the stock price now is really cheap, right? Quite cheap. But if we investigate on the reason why it drops, then I have to say the word reluctant, right? Because it's not so good, right? Sometimes it's not so good for what happened. So today we will take a quick look on that, right? Just 4 or 5 factors. Then readers can have a brief impression on what happened, why the stock price or the name of United Healthcare suddenly dropped like that, right? Okay, then our Falcon portfolio been 119%, right? Rise back a lot, right? And for any of you that have any question, you can leave your comment under the YouTube, or you can directly email to me by usstockmarketweekly@gmail.com. And this is our covering, right? Then now, if you ask me, I would say that this stock price level is a buy. But if we take a look on the reason why it dropped it, then I have to add the word reluctant, right? It's a reluctant buy, right? Let's take a look on some of the headlines, then we go to that. Actually, yesterday the Dow Jones is a drop because of United Healthcare, and then it rises back again to finally rise 271 points to 42,322. At the very beginning, I remember Nasdaq is a rise, then finally it's a drop, but not a lot, right? Drop 34 points to 19,112. Our Falcon 350,000 portfolio, then this year we got a 2% loss, and the portfolio performance is 119%. We go for some headlines first, right? Japan's economy this morning, right? The GDP figure dropped at 0.1%, right? The focus is quite optimistic, right? Should be shrinking more than expected by 0.2%, then, right? But on an worldwide base, Japan's GDP expanded by 1.7%. This may be caused by the tariff, right? Maybe. This is an old news, right? This is an old news, right? And that happened before. Trump had a conversation with Tim Cook, and then expressing that he is not happy why Apple building the products in India. I don't think that Tim Cook wants to do that. Actually, Tim Cook want to have all the iPhone produced in the US, except for those in China, right? Except for those in China. I think that a lot of countries afterwards will have this protectionism like the US. That means for all the iPhone you sell in India, then you have to have a large portion made in India. Of course, it's cheaper, right? Like China, right? You have to make it in China, right? And evaluate it, get the permit by the China and use China's AI software, right? I think that for large company, for large countries like China, like India, then they will have these limitations, right? And because of the manufacturing cost, I think that Tim Cook actually wants to make all the iPhone going to be sold in US, made in US, but that's not possible. We know that, right? Like that, we said that in Hong Kong program for the Samsung, the thinnest version, or S25 Edge, the selling price is 1,000 but US dollar. So if the iPhone Air that is going to be launched quite soon, right, within this year, I think maybe if made in US maybe 2,000 US dollar, then who will buy it, right? It's not possible, right? And then Tim Cook have a small production line after that conversation in US, but just a small production line, just to make Trump happy. That's it, right? Powell, right, expressed his idea on the longer term interest rate. Now the 10 years US Treasury bond rate is more than 4.4%, 4.4 to 4.5%, right? Actually, it's not reducing, right? That's not a good sign to Fed, right? That's not a good sign. Then Powell said, be cautious about higher long-term rate as supply shocks provide policy challenge. That means we heard the news that Walmart is going to raise the price, right? Because the tariff from US on China is still 30%, right? Then add to others like the steel, something like that, it must be more than 30%, right? So that may be small inflation on some of the items, right? Some of the consumer items, right? So he is expressing that the long-term rates will not be cooled down in a short time. Okay, then quickly we go to United Healthcare. First of all, look at the stock price performance. See that? Because of the recent drop in the stock price, you see that over past 5 years, then all the performance ripped it off, right? Become a negative for past 5 years. Only got a dividend of 3%, right? Now the stock price is very cheap because only half of the peak stock price, about 600, is less than half, right? Past 1 year, dropped it 46%, and even past 6 months, dropped it by 53%. The performance is really bad. We just take a look on the orange bar, right? That is the reported earnings per share for the past 6 or 7 quarters. Then, for the recent quarter of this year, the earnings per share is still okay. It's not estimated, this is reported, all right? Still okay, although the increment is not very big. That is the actual figure, right? For the revenue, 84.6 billion compared to 1 year before 75.4, right? The operating margin is 6.2% compared to 5.8% last year. And then the earnings from the operation is 5.2 billion and compared to 1 year before 4.4 billion. Then not very good, but not very bad. We look at some figures first, right? For the total liability, I don't think that that is correct. Should not be zero, right? Cannot be zero, right? I think that is still not updated, right? Total liability cannot be zero, right? For this quarter, from January to March, right? Revenue, okay, increased it by 9%, right? I think that's okay. Net income, 6.29 billion US dollar compared to 5.54 billion US dollar 1 year before. Earnings per share diluted 6.85 compared to 5.98. I think that's okay, right? Cash flow, right? Not very good, not very bad. We can see that the end cash position, right, of this March, 30.72 billion US dollar, better than end of last year, but of course not as good as before, right? Before is better, right? But doesn't matter. Then I think that's okay. The key thing now, right, is some of the factors that make this market is quite scary on that. First of all, CEO resigns for personal reasons and then retrieve the guidance of the next quarter. That is the tricking, right? Because the CEO resigns, something terrible happens. Should be, right? And then Stephen Hamsey, right? He worked in United Healthcare for a long time before. And then he just come back to calm the investors. I come back, right, as the CEO. And brings the stability, right? But seems the stock price doesn't reflect this, right? We look at the right hand side first, right? That seems is the advantage, the good things for United Healthcare, but actually it's not. See that for the Medicare Advantage growth, wow, 800,000 people this year. And then Autumn is the main health department, right, for earning the money from the insurance for United Healthcare. And then is on a track to add 650,000 new patients to value-based care arrangement. That is the problem that she is facing now, because that new patients is older people. It's older people and then not undergone proper health check, and then other insurance company is not taking them or increasing the insurance money. So they switched it to Optum Health. And Optum Health get more money, right? Because you have to pay for the insurance policy. But because those people are older, not very well checked, actually they should pay more, but not, right? So some of the cases claimed by them, maybe for some serious illness, is not passed or permitted by Optum Health. That means I have a problem. I go to the hospital, right? I pay a lot of money. I claim it, but it's turned down by Optum Health or United Healthcare. So there is a gunshot in the end of last year. And then now, because a lot of campaigns by the citizens, they have the insurance policy, right? A lot of campaigns. So now the Department of Justice is starting a criminal probe for possible Medicare fraud. That means you take the money, but you didn't do the right things. Then you have to check their health. You just want to get the money, and then you turn down their claim. That happened in Hong Kong as well, right? a lot of scam is not included in the insured policy. And a lot of scam is quite marginal. That means they can turn you down or they can let you pass. And then the next year, then you have to pay a lot of money because you came the one time, right? So there will definitely, because of investigation by the Department of Justice. But actually, she came that oh, sorry, now we're still waiting for the information from DOJ, right? But I think that this will be sooner or later. So a lot of those things happened in the same time. It makes the market scary. Oh, that company may be really make a crime on that, right? And then seems they are not very precise on, they just want to make the money, right? But they are not very precise on have the health check of the older people, and they just want to make more people, and especially on older people, right? Because the older people want to have the insurance, right? And that another Medicare scheme don't want them, and they turn it to Autumn Health, and Autumn Health welcome, then get your money, but I'm not paying you back. When you really have that sickness and go into the hospital, surgery, something like that. So that's the case. That's the case. So does the CEO resign because of this issue? Or that means for any guidance may not be optimistic as that previously forecasted. That's what the things going on. And if we just taking the point of view of the stock price now is very cheap. Really is very cheap, right? How can this company have the market cap just slashed it more than half, right? The company is not going to close, right? Even then, and actually we have to think the worst scenario. The worst scenario is then that is really got a problem with the DOJ, and then they have to pay a lot of insurance scam and then get a fine. Maybe a lot of money, we don't know, right? They won't close, right? They won't close. Actually, if you ask me, then now it's cheap, right? See that the PE is only 12, right? But it's not cheap enough, right? Cheap enough is then the company is closed or not. We only have to make one very simple decision: is the company is going to close or not, right? So this price is a reluctant buy point, but not cheap to just buy. We just bet if this company will close or not. I don't think that United Healthcare will close, right? But maybe then she had to make huge amount of fine by the government and then pay back to a lot of the insurers that claimed it, right? A lot of case need to bring up again, review it, and then you have to pay for them, right? So making the next season or next 1 or 2 quarter, the net income not only become zero or become negative. So that is the risk, right? But if you ask me, then if the stock price is cheap or not, yes, it's cheap, right? Not super cheap, but it's cheap, right? So if you buy the stock at this price level, then you still have to bear the risks of the price will go down another 10 or 20%, right? And if the judgment by the DOJ, then she is guilty, then maybe the stock price will fall again. That means the stock price may have a chance of rising up after 1 year or more than 1 year. Then you have to bet on that, right? That is my comment, right? So good luck if you want to buy it, right? I'm not saying that you will lose, maybe not, then, but you have to hold this stock and then be very optimistic and then wait for probably 1 year or probably 1 or 2 years, right? Okay, thanks guys for watching, and then like, comment, share, and subscribe are welcome. Then today is Friday. I hope everyone have a very peaceful weekend. See you guys on next Friday. Bye bye.